Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2, and today I'm going to be giving you part 4 of What If Naruto Was the Grand Priest and the Omni King Reincarnation. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, I posted a brand new episode of What If Naruto Was a Rootless Prodigy with Yen Kurama over an anime symbol, so go over there and enjoy that guys. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time hearing my voice, yes, I indeed have several channels which I post What If on every single day for you guys to enjoy. All the links for the other channels will be down in the description, so go ahead, check them out and yeah, enjoy. So without further ado or wasting any more time, how about we begin this new episode? Let's begin now guys. So the last spot we left off, Naruto came across a being, possessing no eyes, just empty eye sockets, his skin as pale as snow, as Naruto could feel death coming from it. As he stepped towards said being, it was here to warn him that he did not belong here. Certain forces out there did not like Naruto within this world, and they wanted to get rid of him. However, being threatened was not something that Naruto took lightly, as he gripped the thing by its throat. He made it very clear that if it came after him, if anything out there came after him, he will slaughter them all, down to the last thing in this very universe. As Naruto wasn't one to take threats from anyone or anything, as it was forced to flee, returning to where it came from in the first place. With that, Naruto went about his life, not really caring about anything going on. They were supposed to catch the cat on Team 7, as Naruto erased the thing and remake it. There's clear difference between him and anyone else. Naruto had no empathy for most things. In fact, because of his overwhelming power and mass, certain things just did not concern him, nor did he care about certain things. However, they have been doing this for some time now, and it was best that they take their mission outside to get more experience. Kakashi had come to see that Naruto was, well, he wasn't sure exactly what Naruto was. So with that, Team 7 went on a mission towards the land of Wave, when they came across a demon brother. Just the presence alone from Naruto was able to scare the living daylights out of them. As they still proceeded onwards, coming across Abusa Momochi, that is where Naruto showed how drastically powerful he was. In the end, he allowed them to escape, as his team was taken back towards the house, where Kakashi had a heart-to-heart with Naruto as he would like to know just what exactly was Naruto. Naruto proceeded to change the dimension, and Kakashi found himself in a different location completely. He had to ask the question that has been weighing on his mind, as he asked if he was a god. He had to know. However, Naruto was not sure exactly what he was. That is why, when joining Team 7, he said that he would like to know just exactly what he was. Some time passed after that, as we skipped to outside of this, their platform of living. The embodiment of death itself came face to face with a powerful being. His name was Shibai Osusuki. Shibai was able to transcend his physical form and step into the higher form of living. And it seems like Death and the other beings that were above him didn't like that too much, but they allowed it. Now Death was coming to Shibai because he wanted him to get rid of someone. After the previous contact with one of Death's agents, and Naruto showing that he did not give a damn, Shibai was able to see the being, the powerful boy that did not make any sense in this universe or this world. He wasn't supposed to be here because he wasn't supposed to be that powerful. As Shibai came out revealing himself, long white hair like his creations, two powerful eyes known as the Jogan. He had Megatama markings on him that was his symbol, his imprint. Shibai came into this universe by what is known as a tree of life. The tree's very purpose was to absorb energy and essence from the universe. It was an anomaly like many things, and the tree gave birth to Shibai. Not knowing his purpose, he spent millions of years trying to understand. However, he had this hunger that he must fill, and that hunger was to feed. So he went after planets, absorbing and gaining more strength. In the process, he created many things. He also created a race of his own powerful beings, known as the Otsutskis after him. However, to most of them he was a myth, because time had passed so much time, and Shibai's body had exploded as he transcended beyond the mortal realm and leveled to a higher state of existence, and that is where he was now. Death warned him that he must do this. After all, the only reason why the others and himself allowed him to exist on this plane was because he had been useful as one of them. Shibai held his hand out as something was in his palm. However, Death warned him that the people of the elemental nation play a big role in the universe and they should not be killed. So, what he was going to send down there had one purpose, and that purpose was to kill Naruto Uzumaki. While that was going on, Naruto ended up saving the people on the bridge when he arrived. Haku did not stand a chance in hell, as Naruto did not hesitate to end Haku's life. When Zabuza tried to fight him, Naruto created a black hole that ripped Zabuza outwards and then inwards, as Naruto incinerated every single last threat like it was nothing, freeing the people of the Land of Wave. However, that is when it arrived. A 10-foot humanoid creature without a face, skin pale and crackly. It punched Naruto so hard that it hit him out of this planet. But not just that, Naruto crashed into another planet. So far away, he crashed into another planet, which exploded when his body made contact with it. As the two girls and Kakashi stood there, mortified and shocked, as they couldn't believe what they just witnessed, as the thing turned to face them. So yeah guys, basically as we left off, you guys can switch across the place to yourself so to begin this new episode. Everyone was shocked and speechless to what they just saw, as Sadara turned her gaze fully towards the monstrosity, standing at 10 feet tall, his body grey and dark, with strange cracks and markings all over him. He was without a face, without a significant feature at all. The tone that he spoke with sounded like a male, however, he had no representation of any. Being a male or female, his body was blank. However, he had the standard build of a human. Arms and legs, 5 fingers, 5 toes on each. Sadara whipped out the kunai that she had in her pouch. "What did you do to Naruto?" she shouted. As she stepped forward, Hinata looking up at the sky. However, Kakashi raised a hand stopping both of them from doing anything stupid. He seen what Naruto was capable of, and if this thing could do Naruto like that, none of them could even hope to fight it. The thing tilted its head and spoke, its voice sounding like a middle-aged man, but there was this echo to it. "There is no need to worry. I'm not here to harm any of you. My goal is complete. My purpose is done here. I've gotten rid of the threat. Now there is nothing else to fear. I must say, I've never been hit that hard before. Everyone snapped their gaze around as Naruto stood at the opposite end of the bridge. Given that they were so close to it, as he was making his way, his clothing was different. Upon making impact, his clothing had ceased to exist. The amount of force that he was hit with, the friction had burned them all to nothingness. However, Naruto was completely fine. There was not even a scratch on him, and he was thrown into a literal planet. His clothing was a representation of what was about to happen, as Naruto was wearing a tight, black shirt with long sleeves. He was wearing grey pants that was a bit baggy, and black sandals on his feet. Something that was easy to move in, flexible. As he walked, it was almost like he was gliding. The thing turned towards him. You could not tell, but it was surprise. How are you still alive? That hit, it should have killed you. Well, a normal person perhaps. Considering that you hit me so hard, I figure that you came into this with the knowledge that I am not a normal person. Would you mind telling me who exactly or what exactly you are? The thing turned and fully faced Naruto as it towered over him. I am known as a destroyer. I will give you the courtesy of my name before I do destroy you. My purpose here is clear, and that is to eliminate the threat which you are. Oh, I see. That thing that I threatened recently. I suppose you're working with that. There is no more knowledge I'm permitted to give you. It stepped forward. I was created for the sole purpose of destruction, purging worlds, destroying infestation, problems that plague my master. There is nothing that you can do that can hurt me. This battle is already over. I will make your death painless by simply turning you into dust. So stay where you are. And it never got to finish that sentence, as Naruto materialized in front of it and hit it upwards. Immediately, Kakashi, Sadara, and Hinata, Kazuna, they all found themselves on the shore, a far distance away from the bridge. They were all confused, as they didn't understand. However, when Kazuna turned his gaze, his eyes widened in shock. Upon Naruto making contact with the monstrosity known as a destroyer, the force had wiped away the bridge completely. It also had gouged out a large percentage of the ocean. The water had split, the earth had opened up. Just from Naruto hitting the thing so hard, the backlash of the punch would have shredded them to nothingness. However, he saved them in the tenth of a second before any backlash could harm them. He then blinked and appeared in front of them. Naruto, Sadara said. I'll be right back, said Naruto, as he vanished once again. As the destroyer was flying in the sky, unable to stop its descent, unable to slow itself down, Naruto reappeared above it, flying at the same speed, and yet he was sideways. Naruto dropped his heel in the thing's face. Every single cloud vanished. A sonic wave boomed through the heavens, shaking the entire land down below, oceans, continents. The thing fell like a bomb as Naruto had kicked it all the way to Kumo. In the massive mountain regions, 2 mountains came down, followed by another and another. The shockwave alone wiped out several mountains in the vicinity. It was a good thing the village wasn't close by. Otherwise, thousands would have died. When the smoke and dust cleared, the giant hand erupted from the ground and pulled itself upwards. It started to realign its body. It started to move like tiny nanites moving all over it, its body snapping back into place. And it was completely fine. You know, said Naruto, as he was standing on the thing's head. I must say, I never thought I would fight something like you this soon. I knew that something else was out there. A lot more things for me to face. Eventually, I will have to show the beings in this universe that I'm not something to be trifled with. I've known that for some time now. However, this is fun. Usually, I have to hold myself back, constantly keeping a check on my powers, knowing that the slightest mistake, the slightest problem, I could wipe out this entire planet, wipe out my entire village. So far, I've doubted that I've used a fraction of my true power, but you on the other hand, you're able to take my punches, even as I hit you so hard, and realign your body rather easily. You were created to be special, weren't you? The thing tried to grab him, but Naruto was gone in an instant, reappearing a distance away. Do you see now? The destroyer said. You cannot win against me. Your punches cannot hurt or harm me. There is nothing that you can do. Even if by some chance, and this is extremely slim, that you manage to eradicate what I am, there are beings out there that are on a much different level, on a higher plane than you can even imagine. With a mere thought, they can erase everything within this galaxy, and my master is one of those beings. So if you do not wish for your friends and the people that you care for to be harmed, you will stand down now, because your purpose and your fate is already sealed. Whenever I am given a task or purpose, there is nothing in this universe that can stop me from achieving that, because I do not fail, and I will never fail. So you're saying that the right thing for me to do is to simply give up, because I can't beat you, and even if I do, there's others out there that can erase my existence. Exactly. As Naruto smiled. Now that sounds fun. He vanished, and so did the destroyer, as they reappear and their fists clash. At Kumo, the Raikage snapped his head to the side as a violent gust whipped over his village. Every single mirror and glass and window shattered. Things were uprooted, people were blown away. The Raikage burst right through as countless shards of mirrors and glass flew everywhere. What the hell was going on? Tearing through the entire mountainside, Naruto grabbed the thing by its face and was driving it through a mountain. He then stopped and threw it. It went straight into the heavens, as Naruto appeared above it and kicked it once again. However, it grabbed his leg and twisted him around and launched him. The both of them crashed down within the hidden sand. They both got up and moved. Their collision caused a spike, as a wild amount of energy erupted outwards. The sky darkened, the area was saturated with so much power. A sandstorm unlike any other ever seen before erupted. The ground cracked, the sand crystallized, their fists shaking the entire nation and beyond. Everyone was panicking, wondering if this was the end of the goddamn world, as the village was being heavily damaged. Buildings were starting to crack, people were being launched away. It was pure mayhem and chaos as they stood in mid-air and traded blows. Shockwaves flashing over the entire place, trembling and ripping things apart. That was until Naruto stepped into his guard. As Naruto hit him in the gut, the entire air trembled, the sky quaked, as the heavens itself seemed to split open as the destroyer was launched out of Earth's atmosphere. It floated in the air as his body started to recover, snapping back together, coming together as one. However, Naruto was already in mid-space. As he gazed out toward the sun and the moon, his eyes observing and watching everything. The destroyer flew towards him as it cocked his fist back with all of its might. As Naruto turned to face it, boom! The thing made contact with Naruto's face. The resulting contact released a shockwave beyond Naruto that split the very definition of space, the shockwave wavering through and spreading through space itself. The problem was, Naruto did not move. He did not move not even an inch. The destroyer pulled its fist back. What is this? Curious why? I'm not going through space right now at light speed because of your punch. Do you know that? While on Earth I actively suppress my power. In a result, it also take away majority of my defense. Something I purposely do, so that I can entertain myself when I do fight. However, the moment we left the Earth atmosphere, I stopped doing that. And now your punches only tickle. It feels like someone wiped a feather across my face. Just something that brings me amusement. I thought you were strong, but I was incorrect. You're nothing but a failed creation that has been used to destroy weaklings. However, the two of us are not on the same level. Naruto appeared in front of him. As Naruto placed 2 fingers on his chest before he did the 1-inch punch. The destroyer body, its back expanded. As the thing crumbled in the air, the force that traveled through its entire body shook it to its very core. It was stagnant and bending and twisting upon itself, trying to regenerate itself and snap back together. However, what Naruto did was affecting it so much, its body could not keep up. Naruto stood behind the thing. As he brought his hand up, Naruto's hand started to tremble. Space started to be distorted around his hand before he slapped the thing across the face. The mere notion of the slap sent a shockwave through space as the thing was launched, going far beyond the earth, surpassing everything that Naruto had seen when he was punched. Its body moving at speeds that it could not keep up with, as Naruto then bent himself before he moved. Naruto had reappeared a far distance away ahead of the thing, with just raw speed alone. Holding out one finger, Naruto stopped it. Before he pushed down with that finger, there was a planet hovering beneath them. The thing came down as it smashed into the planet, wiping out whatever was there. Creatures, animals. Naruto entered that planet atmosphere and looked down. The thing finally fixed itself back up as it pulled itself up. This isn't possible. I am the destroyer, meant to erase anything that plagues my master. I cannot be killed by something like you. I have never failed, and I will never fail. It started to get angry. It was a sentient being with knowledge, emotions after all. Is that so? Said Naruto, his voice traveling down towards it. Well, I guess there's a first time for everything. Its face started to open up as a source of energy inside started to gather. I shall not fail, it said. Naruto held his hand together. When he pulled his hand apart, a ball of energy that had the features of the sun was in his palm. He held it above his head. The thing started to dig its foot into the ground. Its body started to pull almost all of its power to the brink. It shot an incredible beam of power straight towards Naruto, with the intention to turn him to dust. However, Naruto dropped the ball in his hand. He then expanded his hand outwards as the thing evolved. The destroyer was shocked when its beam made contact. However, it did absolutely nothing. Disappear, said Naruto. The thing roared out as it was enveloped. It, along with the entire planet, was wiped away. Naruto stood there as his hair and clothing was blown back. Pieces of the planet shooting all over space. As Naruto stood there, as I thought. Naruto then gazed upwards before he closed his eyes and relaxed. The sound of his heartbeat started to get louder and louder. As Naruto's eyes were closed, his body was relaxed. When suddenly, it happened. An energy wave spiraled from his form and spread throughout the entire galaxy and beyond, spreading through the universe. As Naruto was doing this on purpose, beyond this space, Death, who had been able to perceive everything that took place in the physical world, watch as everything around him trembled, even in the world beyond this one. As he felt the pulse, he felt the sensation even leaking into his realm. But not only that, Shibai Osusuki, currently without his physical form, felt it as well. He felt the vibrations, he felt the energy reaching even him. Shibai was able to watch everything take place and watch one of his most powerful creations destroyed like it was nothing. It seems like they were wrong. They underestimated him. None of them could tell how powerful he was. Death. Death knew everything. It knew when all beings below it die. Yet, it could not tell when this boy was going to draw his final breath. Now that was saying something. However, it wasn't just them alone though. As Naruto's essence spread, it was a warning. A physical warning that it didn't matter where they were. It didn't matter how hard they tried to hide. He could reach them all. Time skip. Naruto simply appeared, interrupting the conversation. Hinata spun around. She did not hesitate. Just on instinct, she ran forward and hugged him. "You're alright," she whispered, as she held on to him for what seemed to be a long moment. Given the current situation, it seemed to be a long time until she pulled back, realizing what she was doing, but she was just so worried. Sadara running up towards him. "What happened? Who was that? What was that?" she said. Naruto looked around as he saw Tazuna on his knees, a few feet ahead of them, looking towards nothing because his bridge was gone. The bridge that he's been working on so long was gone. There was nothing remain. All of that resources, everything, that hard work. "Give me a moment," said Naruto. "I'll explain everything soon." As he made his way towards the man, Tazuna looked up. "I suppose originally it was the mission to help you with your bridge and your village. Given that you lied to us and we skipped over that. Tell you what, I'm feeling generous, knowing that there is more fun to be had. So, I'll fix this for you." Tazuna looked up towards him. Before he could say something, Naruto had a staff in his hand. As he threw it forward, suddenly, the staff started to attract pieces that weren't even there. It started to manipulate everything around it. Tazuna felt the ground trembling and rumbling as the earth repaired itself. That is when the steel and wood start to appear. Tazuna stood there in shock and awe, as he couldn't believe what he was even looking at. The remaining members of Team 7 found themselves truly speechless. The bridge wasn't even complete when Tazuna was right here and now. However, Naruto took it a step further, as the bridge was 100% complete. Perfect, without even a shred of damage. Tazuna looked up towards him. How did you... All the people that had came, Iniri had brought them all as they had witnessed what just happened. All of them were left shocked and speechless. They were afraid when they saw the bridge wasn't there, believing that Gato had succeeded, but it seems they were wrong. "I guess it's time I stop acting like I'm not what I am, isn't it?" said Naruto. Tazuna was confused. You ask how I did this. It's simple. I'm a god, said Naruto. Time skip. Hiruzen Sarutobi was in his office. A lot has happened since Team 7 had returned. Even before that though, reports were spreading all over the nation. A freakish storm happened within the hidden sand that affected the area tremendously, including the buildings. Everything was strange. A large portion, 1/3 of the area had turned into glass. It seems like an intense heat had been placed down on the sand. A spectral part of the sand that turned it into glass. For the heat to be that powerful, something abnormal that has never happened within the elemental nation had. But it wasn't just the sand Kumo was affected. 13 mountains were destroyed by a freakish storm that destroyed almost every window within the village. Even a few buildings crumbled down, as a few people died in this, buildings collapsing on them. It was a tragic thing. Minor villages that were nearby, the land of lightning, were affected badly by this as well. Houses were destroyed, buildings were shredded to nothing, and houses within the land of wind were also wiped away as well. No one could explain this. However, Hiruzen and Team 7 had the full understanding of what happened. Hiruzen knew there was nothing that he could do. He always knew that Naruto was powerful, but he never knew to this degree. He had absolutely no idea that Naruto was just this powerful, fighting within mid-space, able to breathe outside of this earth. No one has ever ventured that far yet. This boy did it so casually. Hiruzen didn't have anything much to say about this. The only thing that he hoped was if Naruto could defeat these foes, as Naruto told him there was nothing to worry about. Hiruzen also wanted him to minimize the damage that was done to this planet, as Naruto told him that he will handle it. There wasn't much to say after that, except to understand more on what was going on. However, Naruto himself did not know who exactly was coming after him. But there wasn't much Hiruzen could say or do about this. This was beyond him. While he was the Hokage of this village, there was nothing that he could do. When it came to these kind of problems, they were on a completely another level. Something that he could never hope to even imagine. The people at the Land of Wave had named the bridge after Naruto, the Great Naruto Bridge, allowing more popularity to come to his name. After all, he was the son of Minato Namikaze. While that was going on, making his way was none other than Death. His hood up, his sight in his hand, as he arrived. In front of him was a few beings, all of them one aspect of reality itself. You had time, like Death, is built, seemed humanoid, but he had no beginning and no end. He simply exists where he was. You cannot tell the beginning or end. No one below them could understand the concept of what he was. However, in a visual standpoint, his body seemed humanoid. On his forehead there was an hour clock. The tattoo, a marking, representing his symbol as the god of time. His hair seemed to be white, but on closer inspection it was time itself woven in together to make it look like his hair. His eyes were shaped like the flow of time itself, where you could not see the start or the end. It was just there. His clothing was white and glistened around him. As he stood there, his feet bare, no objects in his hands or on him. Beside him was life. He was the god of life. Just like Death was here, there was also life as well. Life was much more subdued and calm, taking on the aspect of a human. He possessed Gray hair with dark eyes. His body seemed to be peaceful. Just being around him was like being in a meadow, a calm, serene location, a place to exist, a place to not exist. His clothing fit his hair, it was gray. And next to him was Space, the god of space. Just like the destroyer, he did not possess any physical features. His body was the concept of space. Looking inside of him, you saw stars. You saw universes and all others. Each of them had several aspects with them. Space also controlled reality. Life also controlled power. Time also controlled mind. And death controlled soul. Each of them was an aspect of the universes. There wasn't just one. There was countless. And they were created for one reason: to keep order, balance, and control. And they've been doing that for such a long time now. It's been a long time since all of them were gathered, because they all realized there was a threat out there. A new threat that had proven to be more than any of them could have thought. The last time we gathered like this was when we were deciding the fate of Shibai Osusuke. Life spoke up, looking toward the Shinigami, and we decided that he shall live because he proved himself. Time said, but we are not here to talk about that, said Space. We're here to talk about this child, if you can even call him that. As Death interjected, he is no mere child. As you all can see, and I'm sure that you all can feel as well. I was surprised, Time said. Not only did he shake almost everything within my realm, I cannot base time on him. There is no layer of time that he exists in, like many others that I can simply remove from time itself. He's already been removed. You think this is his own doing? Space said. It has to be. Naruto Uzumaki, Death spoke up. True name Naruto Namikaze. In all of the other universes, he's a simple boy. In many others he possessed grand abilities, but nothing ever this close to what this one possessed. Death had seen all the other universes, and in each of them, there is a Naruto Uzumaki. His life similar, and yet sometimes so different. This one on the other hand, this one did not make any sense. We've all witnessed the battle between him and Shibai's destroyer, a being that we have authorized the usage of in the past to remove dangerous beings from universes and timelines. Space said, however, that boy was able to eradicate it without much effort, and in doing so he sent us a warning. I'm sure that you all felt it and know why he did what he did. He's trying to show us that we do not scare him, and our actions means nothing to him. Then what do we do, said Life. His existence is not something that was supposed to happen. We cannot allow this to happen. This is our very task, our responsibility, and we cannot fail. No one said that we were failing. Time spoke up. However, in order to attack this great force, it is not speed that we need, but understanding. And that would have been my call if you had spoken to me before making a move. Time said, looking towards Death. More than any of you, I have been the keeper of balance, the keeper of corruption and purity. I saw there was a threat, so I made a move, something that neither of you would have done. You would have waited until it was too late, just like the past. Time looked towards Death as he stepped forward. That is not my point. Enough. Life said, we're not here to argue with one another. We're here to stop a threat. This is the exact reason why we were created. So, we shall do as time says, and try to understand just exactly what is this boy. Because none of us know exactly what he is right now. While all of us combined can eradicate him, there is no doubt about that. We must try to understand his significance within this universe and why he was placed here. I am sure that this is not the creator's doing. He would never dream of doing something like this. All of them were quiet at that. The creator. The creator was on a much higher level than them. The creator was on a much higher level than the multiverse itself. A place known as the Omniverse, where the creator resided. The creator was the one that created death, time, space, and life. He created them, and he also created all the other universes, which made up the multiverse. And he created them to keep it in check and keep it in balance. And for millennia, they have been doing that. Watching civilization fall, watching planets fall, watching universes get eradicated. Because it was all balance. However, now, one boy threatened to throw the entire existence off balance. And they couldn't allow that to happen. Back to the elemental nation, Sadara was weaving and dodging out of the way. In front of her was a staff. No one was holding it. It was moving on its own, jabbing and spinning and lashing out at her. However, her Sharingan, she was predicting and dodging every single attack, evading and moving away. None of them could touch her. She got too cocky though as she reached in to touch the staff. It weaved under her hand and slammed in her stomach, flipping her over as she collapsed on her back. Ow, she said. I think we should call it for the day, said Naruto, walking towards her as the staff floated towards him. You promised that you would help me, she said. I did, and I have been doing so. However, today is your day off, Naruto said to her. As he held a hand out, she took it as he helped her back to her feet. A day off is just more time for me to get stronger, she said to him. The Chunin exams is coming around. Everyone is talking about it. My entire clan is going to be there. A lot of people are going to be expecting a lot from me. And I can't fail. I have to live up to my name, she said to him. As Naruto looked at her with a sigh. And what was that, she said to him. You speak as if you haven't already lived up to the Uchiha name or lived up to your brother's hype, Naruto said to her. As she simply looked at him. You know that you're just 13, right? And you're already one of the strongest genins out of all the other teams, not including myself, of course, he said to her. As much as Sasuke is the son of the clan head, and many people speak of him with greatness as well, I doubt he could defeat you in a fight. She looked at him. You really think so, she said. Of course I do. Besides, from what I've seen so far, Shizu is a lot stronger than Itachi. I guess it runs in your genes, Naruto said to her. And that brought a smile to her face. You know, if it was anyone else saying this, I wouldn't believe them. But given who I'm talking to, I guess I have no other choice. She took a breath. You know what? Today is our day off. Considering that you spend the day with me when you could have been doing whatever else because I asked for your help in training. How about I buy the both of us some lunch, she said to him. As Naruto tilted his head with a smile on his face. Are you asking me out on a date, he asked her. No, she said, stepping back. It's not like that. As he simply chuckled. Calm down, he said, it's alright. Sure, that would be fantastic. However, She looked up when she heard the booming thunder, as she hadn't even noticed. It seems like rain is going to come down and ruin their time. However, Naruto simply smiled as he held his hand out. She watched as he opened his palm. A tiny orb that looked like the sun, shining brightly, was right in his palm. Whoa, what's that? Watch, he said as he threw it in the sky. Once it was high enough, she watches every single cloud vanish, as the beautiful rays of the sunlight shine down upon them, eviscerating every ounce of rain that would have come. Whoa, she said. Time skip. Naruto was within the Uchiha compound, as he was here waiting on Sadara. As she was going to freshen up before they headed out. After all, she had been spending the past few hours training, and she's gotten rather sweaty. So here he was. It wasn't common for most people to just walk within the Uchiha compound that are not Uchihas. So many eyes were on him, of course for several reasons, as he's been making quite a name for himself lately, with the things that he have done. What happened at the Land of Wave? What happened at the Waterfall Village recently? Team 7 had made their way on another mission that was quite eventful, and Naruto had made a name for himself once again. He decided to pay Mikoto a visit while he was here. As he was making his way, he realized he was being followed, so he made his way towards one of the training grounds, so they could finally reveal themselves. And they did, as he noticed that majority of them were around his own age. The one in the center stepped forward, as he did not seem pleased. Given that he was the one that was doing the talking, he seemed to be the leader of this little gang. How can I help you? Said Naruto. Stay away from her. Naruto blinked as he tilted his head. Who? He asked, as he looked at the Uchiha in front of him. By the way, who are you? Naruto said. My name is Ryu, he said, stepping forward. And the person I'm talking about is Sadara. You are not one of us. You don't have the right to just step in here, acting like you are. Come on now, said Naruto. We're all friends. There's no need for this. We are not friends, he said, spatting angrily at Naruto. However, there was something else there. He wasn't just angry at Naruto, he was also jealous as well. Oh, I see, said Naruto. You like Sadara, and me being in the picture is becoming a problem. You know nothing what you're talking about. We simply don't like the fact that you're just around the compound walking freely and doing as you please, like you're one of us. Being on a team with her is different. However, you can't just freely walk within our compound. Yeah, some of the others start to say. And if I do, who exactly is gonna stop me? Said Naruto. Ryu clenched his fists. I am, he said. You have no idea what you're dealing with here. As he stepped to Naruto. I'll give you 5 seconds to back away. 5. Just because you're the son of the Hokage, don't believe that you're untouchable. 4. Stop counting. 3. I said stop counting. 2. He grabbed Naruto by the shirt. 1. Ryu exploded into a million pieces. Blood, gore, flying all over the place. All the other kids were traumatized to what they saw. They were baffled and scared, beyond their wildest imagination. The next moment Ryu came back, all the blood and gore was gone. All of them blinked in shock as Ryu backed away. What? He started to tap himself all over. What the hell was that? He said. I thought Uchihas were supposed to be good with genjutsu, yet you fell for it so easily. As Naruto simply chuckled and walked away. Well, he lied, that was no genjutsu. Naruto had destroyed him in a more violent way than he usually did. However, he simply reversed the process. As Ryu was left, questioning if he was losing his mind, while Naruto made his way off. Naruto, Mikoto said with a smile, greeting him as she invited him inside. as the both of them sat down and talked until Sadara finally arrived. As Mikoto and Sadara got a few seconds, Mikoto was smiling. "What's with the smile, auntie?" Sadara asked, looking towards Mikoto, who couldn't stop smiling. As Mikoto simply whispered, "Good luck on your little date." It's not like that," Sadara said, causing Mikoto to chuckle slightly. Given what happened in the past, and the only repercussion was the ambassador from Kumo, tension wasn't as high as it would have been if someone from Konoha had died or if Hinata had been kidnapped. Therefore, when word came that Kumo would be sending members to participate within the exams, there was some tension there, but not as high as they would have been. Kumo sent 3 teams. However, the main one was a team consisting of a girl known as Samui, Amoy, and Karu. As they were currently looking around the village, hidden within the leaf after just checking in, as many eyes were on them, given the headband that they wheel. However, no one would do anything to them. After all, that would cause an international incident, so everyone was just rather calm as things were going as they should, making their way throughout the village as they were surveying things and watching things. The oldest of the group was Samui. She was 14 years old, while the other 2 were 13 years old. As they were making their way, they had something that they came here to do after all, besides joining the exams. As they were to gather intel and information on several individuals. "I guess we're going to see him at the exams," Karu said. "Well, it's not like we're going to run into him on the beer street. That would be some crazy luck, which you don't have," Amoy said. The girl turned and glared towards him. "Enough, you two," Samui said. "Being through this a lot with them. They were always sniping at one another. We came here for a purpose." And with that, they made their way. The day was finally here, as many people were looking forward to this. As Naruto was walking alongside Hinata, having met her along the way, Hinata has been going through a lot. Ever since seeing what Naruto was truly capable of, she had spoken to him during their downtime. She was running out of time. Hanabi was going to be brand with a curse mark, and she couldn't allow that to happen. So she was going to do something drastic, as she wanted Naruto help to do it. It was something very extreme, and it was going to be bad on her, but still she was going to do it, to keep her sister safe, to stop her clan from going down this path. She had to do it. She had 2 more months until that event, where they will brand Hanabi, and she couldn't allow it. As Naruto was walking by her side, "I have to do it," she said to him. Naruto looked at her. Given the history and the personalities of many members within your clan, there will be a retaliation, he said to her. "It doesn't matter. My father, the elders, they won't change it. It doesn't matter how hard the other side try. My cousin Neji, his father has been nothing but kind and respectful to me. Since the day I knew him, all he wants is just a change. All of them want is just to be seen as equal, to be respected. Why must our clan be the only clan that does this to our own people, that hurt, subjugate them?" I knew deep down that the time was coming, and they will perform the same thing on Hanabi. However, I've been fooling myself believing that I would be ready by that time, but I'm not. So I need your help, she said, looking at Naruto, her eyes sincerely focusing on his. "Okay," said Naruto. "However, there is a way that I can stop any infighting, that I can stop any problem from arising. However, it's not going to be civil. Would you like me to do that?" he said to her. Hinata looked at him as she was quiet for a few seconds. It doesn't matter what it takes, she said. We will do it after the exam. As Naruto simply nodded, as much as she was having an internal turmoil thinking about this, it wasn't affecting him in the slightest. After all, the better thing for him to do was to simply eviscerate every single last member of the main family. However, she didn't want that. And because of the friendship that they share, he was going to give her that courtesy and help her with this problem that she had, as he had a way to fix all of this. However, it would result in him flexing his power slightly. Well, that will be very soon. They arrive as Sadara greeted them. As they made their way, things have gotten rather better between Sadara and Hinata. While they were still trying to outdo one another, they've been understanding what it means to be on a team together. Making their way on the inside, as they made their way in, they came across a floor, which was an illusion. However, neither of them were that much affected by it. After all, each of them specialized in a different area. As they made their way inside, as many teams were looking at them, they simply walked away, not even paying the kids here any attention. Perhaps this was just another test to see if they were worthy of going on, and those who could not get past this area was not worthy. So with that, they made their way inside. Upon making their way, they came across a door. Standing there was Kakashi Hatake. He greeted them with a smile, as he was here to wish them luck. With that, they stepped inside. Upon doing so, all eyes turned towards them, as everyone tried to intimidate them, to cower them down. However, with a mere blink from Naruto's eyes, all of that sensation simply vanished, confusing the others as they felt like their own senses turned against them. In the next few minutes, several other teams enter. Sasuke enter along with his team, Kiba along with his team, Shikamaru along with his team. All of them were here. They were all rather talkative, drawing the attention of many others. Ino and the others were rather talkative to Naruto about what had happened. As they were curious, they heard the rumors, and they wanted to know if they were truthful. Sasuke was acting all smug as he scoffed, as he refused to believe that Naruto was stronger than him. It didn't matter what he had went through. Shikamaru had saw that from day one, that Naruto was something odd. If Sasuke believed that he could defeat Naruto, well, he was sadly mistaken. Walking over to the group was another Konoha ninja. He introduced himself as Kabuto Yakuji, willing to offer them information on the others. Sasuke, who was curious himself, as he noticed many faces that he did not know, and he would like to know about their strength. One in particular was the one with the gort on his back. His gaze was pretty unusual and rather deadly. As Kabuto was speaking, he also talked about the land of sound, and he also disrespected them on how weak they were. Because he only sent one team, they were fresh, and he believed they weren't ready. They chose to attack as Naruto stood there, watching all of them with an amused smile on his face. However, the proctor came in and broke everything up, as they were all assigned seats. Upon sitting down, Naruto immediately knew what was going on, as he started to write the answers on his paper. Sadara and Hinata found the answers also writing in on their paper. "Don't worry, it's just me." His voice entered their mind. "The purpose of this test is for us to cheat." "However, I already know all the answers," said Naruto. As they were done in record time. Time skip. The second phase of the exam. They were currently resided within the Forest of Death, a rather deadly place to most people. However, not in this particular situation. The animals They stay clear away from Team 7, as the presence alone that Naruto carried was of a vicious predator that could not be touched, could not be harmed by any of their kind. As they made their way throughout the forest, they came across a team from the grass. Well, looky what we have here. A rather tall boy, looking like he was 15 but he was tall for his age, said with a smirk on his face, "I was hoping that we ran into a bunch of kids. I'll do you guys a favor. Hand over your scroll, and we won't have to hurt you," he said as he pulled out a kunai. Both Sadara and Hinata shot forward, as they did not even speak. His two teammates moved, however. The idiot on the right chose to attack Hinata with his hands. She hit him twice and his hands were no longer in circulation. Sadara flipped over her opponent and grabbed him. She slammed his head down into the ground. He was out like a light. The so-called leader of this group was beyond shock as he could not even blink or move. What the hell? As Naruto was in front of him, Naruto flicked him on the forehead. His body was sent sailing as he crashed into a tree out like a light. They got their scroll as they headed to the tower. Meanwhile, at said tower, that's impossible. Uncle Midarashi said, "No," as she looked at the timer. It couldn't be. However, looking at the timer, this team has shattered every single past record of any team that has ever taken the exam in any history or any time period. It was Team 7. Naruto Namikaze, Hinata Hyuga, and Sadara Uchiha. It was a truly shocking realization as they shatter every single team record, all from the past. Upon word reaching Hiruzen, he wasn't surprised. 5 days passed by rather quickly. When the 5 days were up, they were all gathered. As Naruto looked around, Sasuke and his team made it. Majority of the teams here were Konoha teams. There was also another team from the rain. The sand team was here as well. And there was also 2 Kumo teams. And also, the team from the sound as well. The proctor was a man known as Hayate, as he stepped forward giving a speech. They were going to lessen the numbers right here and now, and that is what they were going to do. A preliminary matches, as the others made their way up. Congratulations on breaking all records that has ever been set by any genin in any history. Kakashi said to his team, congratulating them aloud so the others could hear as well, just to show how much Team 7 was going. Shisui, the proctor of Sasuke's team, was smiling over towards his sister as he waved at her. It was just the way he was. He treated her like a baby sometimes. But when the time was actually right, he treated her like a real kunoichi. But now he was teasing her. As she looked away, her cheeks puffed out, folding her arms. There was a lot of members here as the matches started to take place. Sadara saw her name as she made her way down there. Her opponent was a member from the grass. The fight only lasted for 22 seconds on the dot, with Sadara coming out as the winner. Hinata faced off against one of the Kumo ninjas. Maybe she still had a bit of hate for what they did in the past, as her opponent went down in 15 seconds. These idiots don't realize that fighting a Hyuga head-on is a really stupid idea. Sasuke demolished his opponent from the rain, showing no mercy. Sakura did not come out on top. Sai obliterated his opponent rather easily, and without using too much brute force. Over to the other side. So that's him, huh? Omni said as he watched. Naruto Namikaze's name was called. Yeah, that's him. Samui said as she watched the match to see if the rumors that she heard was true or if they were false. Naruto's opponent was a sound ninja known as Dosu. Dosu prepared himself However, Naruto took in a breath and then exhaled, and the match was done. Literally. The force that Naruto exhaled turned into a gust, unlike any other, as those who crashed into the wall. However, the force that Naruto released did not just stop there. It crushed the gauntlets on his arms. It crushed his body into the wall. Everyone stood where they were, speechless, beyond shock, unable to even say anything to what they just witnessed, as they couldn't believe it. Kabuto Yakushi was also here, and there was a reason for that, as he was a spectator for someone very dangerous, his master, who also wanted information. Something big was at play here, which no one really knew about. Samui and her team stood there, as shocked looks were all over their faces, as they were wondering if that really happened a moment ago, or they were losing their mind. Time skip. With the exams coming to an end, as the members passed on to the finals, they were given 1 month to train, 1 month to prepare for what is to come. As members returned back and headed off, at the moment, members of the Hyuga clan were being gathered. It was 3 days after the preliminary testing, as all of them were there. Hayashi Hyuga entered the room, as all of the members were within the dojo. He looked rather confused. Who called this meeting, he said. The 3 elders that stood behind him, one of them being his father, looked at him rather confused. I thought you were the one that called this meeting. Actually, I did. Everyone turned. The door opened up as Hinata stepped inside. By her side was her younger sister Hanabi. They were all confused. You? Her grandfather said, as he did not look pleased in the slightest. What's going on? Another elder spoke up. I am abolishing the ritual of branding our members with the curse mark. Today and now, she said. Her gaze was solid. No flinching, no hesitation. Have you lost your damn mind, girl? Her grandfather spoke. How dare you? Situate yourself in this position. Do you understand the repercussion of even trying to do what you're saying? He said to her. As the branch members stood there, as quiet as ever. You know, that is no way to talk to your future leader. He turned around as Naruto was standing there. And you've brought in an outsider. What have you done? He said. Hayashi looked towards his daughter, as his emotion was one that was rather unreadable. As the main members started to speak, the place was filled with a lot of voices. Big sister, Hanabi said, holding on to her sister's hand. Everyone quiet, said Naruto. As everyone stopped talking, they found themselves unable to. Naruto held his hand up, and all of the doors locked. As he walked over to Hinata and stood behind her. You can continue now, he said. Hinata held on to her sister's hand. Everything's gonna be alright, she said. As she turned and faced them all, even her father, she did not flinch. She did not look away. While I am not the clan head as of yet, I am the future head of this clan. And today, I shall make a change for our clan. A change for the better. Neji Hyuga, who was amongst the crowd along with his father, both were rather shocked, not expecting this at all from Hinata. How? How would she possibly achieve a feat like this? None of them knew. Today is the day that we get rid of the curse mark forever, she said. As many hateful eyes on the branch side looked at her. However, their gaze were deferred towards Naruto, who stepped forward. I suppose it's time, he said. But guys, be and subscribe right here. If you want to see the next person, do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. But I'm off for now. See you guys soon. Peace.